Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It's the 3rd of April, 2026. Wow, time is flying by. So much misinformation, disinformation, AI, fakes. Oh, you can't trust anything anymore. You won't be trusted anymore. All right, welcome to the Friday edition of the WTF Reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist, and here WTF with the facts. But then again, we don't even know what the facts are anymore. Oh my gosh, it's really hard to discern what's truth, what is false with AI that's out there. There's so much garbage being thrown at us, and we're not being told the truth. We know that. The U.S., Trump has basically classified casualties coming back from the Iran war. So we don't know how many of our guys and gals are being sacrificed to this effort to take over the Middle East by, of course, this other country that is in charge of this country. Of course, you can't say that. No, you can't say that at all. No. But anyway, I'm here, WTF, with the facts, the best that I can do. And we all get taken once in a while. And if some of that makes you exclaim WTF, well, then so be it. Anyway, right off the bat, as always, this broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. If you haven't checked it out, please do so. This is Rife technology that you wear on your wrist. If you haven't checked it out, please go to our website, the WTFreports.com, and there'll be a pop-up window. And when you click on that, it'll take you to an area where you can learn all about this frequency device that you wear on your wrist. It's a little wristwatch with over 1,000 different frequencies that can really help you in a lot of different ways. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not going to say it's going to cure or treat anything, but it certainly can help you in different ways. So, but check it out. And if you decide to get one, you'll save $100 if you use the promo code REDPILL101, which is automatically applied if you decide to get the Wave Watch through our website. So please visit our website, the WTF Reports, and check out the Wave Watch. Okay, where do I start? Again, I'm going to be somewhat schizophrenic with the topics today. I'll try to squeeze everything I can into the short hour that I've got here, or 55-minute segment. So anyway, this issue about aliens and extraterrestrials and UFOs and UAPs and drones and hybrids, and it's not going away, folks. It's building and building and building. And they're talking about all kinds of different things. And more of our government officials are jumping on board to put this information out. And if you haven't heard, of course, there are a lot of, shall we say, scientists and high-level military people that have gone missing. And they just all of a sudden they're gone. Anyway, here's a quick report. And I believe this was on Newsmax, I think it was. Yeah, it was on Newsmax. And here's just a piece of this report that was broadcast yesterday.
Have you heard about this? An absolutely wild story at a time when we could be on the verge of some kind of disclosure about alien life and UFOs from the White House. They've said this. Mm-hmm. 4 people who worked in government programs and knew a whole lot about that topic have either vanished or have been murdered. The first was retired General William Neal McCasland, who had ties to UFO programs in the government. He disappeared suddenly from his home in New Mexico in February. He left his phone, his glasses, and his watch at home. He also worked at an Air Force base that reportedly held the debris from the Roswell, New Mexico crash in the 1940s. Then it was Monica Reza, a former NASA engineer who worked directly under General McCasland on advanced propulsion engines. She vanished while hiking in California last June with friends who say they have no idea what happened. Then it was Nuro Lareyo, the director of plasma science at MIT. He was murdered in his home in Boston in December. And then it was Carl Grillmar, a Caltech astrophysicist who discovered water on another planet where there may have been life. Carl was murdered randomly in his home last month. Our next guest says this was not a coincidence.
everybody's thinking it's UFO, but he had some nuclear secrets. There's just too many of them disappearing, Benny. Nothing happens by coincidence in this town or around this town.
Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett is joining us. He's also a member of the Oversight and Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, good to see you. What do you think's going on here?
Well, I don't know exactly. I just know there are no coincidences in this town. These folks have disappeared or died mysteriously, and there's the only thing that ties them together is the fact that they've worked on things that are dealing with outer space, whether it's UFOs or nuclear secrets or missiles or what have you. But I think we need full disclosure. When I'm in a meeting, in a closed door meeting, and I ask about the president's points on these, and then I'm told by some arrogant, unelected bureaucrat that the president is on a need-to-know basis, I think that says everything it needs to be said about what's going on. I think there's an arrogance, there's an underlying, and I talked to the president about this. I said, it's just layers of the onion, Mr. President. You peel one off, and there's another one underneath. You put your top people in, and it's just too much to clear out in 4 years. And it's just, we've got a real problem, I think, in this area. And I think you've got some arrogance. When I sit in a meeting and some little punk with a man bun is sort of running the show, and you have decorated military officers in the meeting there that are basically unallowed to say anything, and you can read their faces what's going on.
Well, General McCaslin, he was not a minor player at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. He was there for more than 35 years. At one point, he was the top guy at that base, and he just disappears. His family has no idea what happened. Do you think the cases are connected, or do you think this is just some absolutely wild coincidence? Because all four of these people are also connected in some way.
Okay, I'm going to jump in there and ask the question. How many coincidences have to occur before the coincidences are no longer coincidences?
Yeah, I think some of them could be a domestic issue, but I think overall, I think there is a connection there.
Okay, so you do think this is a conspiracy?
I don't think we're ever going to know, because it'll come out, and it gives enough time for the trail to go. It's like when a kid in Washington, D.C. gets, they find him dead, and they claim that he was mugged, yet his watch and wallet and he's got cash on him are not taken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Seth Rich, is he talking about? Anyway, that interview goes on for some time, but again, more and more discussion is being publicized on this particular subject. As a matter of fact, Benny Johnson was interviewing Dr. Stephen Greer, and this is what he had to say.
It's a very serious issue, and I will tell you, if this is disclosed improperly, it'll be 1,000 times worse than COVID. And I think that when you're talking about the fact we are being visited by advanced civilizations, they are not hostile. If they were hostile, we'd be gone. But we have approached them very hostilely. We have literally downed at least 1,000 or more of their spacecraft using illegal electromagnetic pulse weapons. And I know where they're being used and how they're being used. And we have captured those bodies, some living, some dead. And Mr. Gates was correct in saying that there are some gruesome programs being run by military where they've been trying to combine DNA of these creatures with humans, and they come out with these monstrous looking things that are used to abduct people. So everyone's here of alien abductions. It's not the extraterrestrials doing it. It's a covert human program. And we know this, and we can prove it. So this is a huge story. It's the biggest scandal in the history of the United States in its founding. And I think for our 250th anniversary, we should be liberated from the secrecy, and these extraordinary technologies that could benefit all of humanity need to begin to be looked at, to be brought out.
Yes, absolutely. I agree 100%. Because technologies have been suppressed for well over a century. As a matter of fact, Dr. Stephen Greer produced a documentary film. I highly recommend it. It's called The Lost Century. You can find it if you do a search. Go to either BitChute or Rumble or YouTube and do a search for The Lost Century. And I think you'll find that very interesting. Anyway, back to this subject here about the UFOs, and also there are USOs. Unidentified submersed object or submersible object. and they go really fast in the water. Like we're talking 200 miles an hour, an object the size of a football field. Anyway, here's Tim Burchett again talking about exactly this.
And I had a high-ranking, and he's a former member of the Navy. The last thing he told me before he went out that door was, "Tim, they're real." And he described a situation under the water that they sonared an object about as big as a football field that was doing close to 200 miles an hour, and there's no fish that's big as a football field, and there sure as hell isn't anything that can do 200 miles an hour. Might get close to 40 miles an hour, and no heat signature as well. We got areas of the sightings that you see a higher report of the propensity of sightings around these deep water areas, and there's 4 or 5 of those in the ocean. We know more about the surface of the moon than we do these areas. And when you're talking several miles down, we don't have the capabilities of anyway even getting all those areas. And I had a high rank.
Okay, so there you are about the USOs. Man, it just doesn't stop, does it? Okay, shall I spend some more time talking about the disclosures, or shall I talk about Operation Bluebeam? Now, that could also be I think they may be setting that up. But to be honest, it's really hard to know which way to go. My own personal opinion, and you regular listeners know that I've had, 5 different sightings in my life. I've seen these things. And again, my dad was Air Force. He was a pilot. I knew all of the airplanes that, he was flying, the T-33s, T-38s. I knew all the other aircraft there, the C-130s or, 130s. And I saw some things, I'll just say I've had 5 different sightings in my life that have really, piqued my curiosity, and I've been following this issue for decades and decades. So I have reason to believe that, yes, E.T. is real, and E.T. has been around for a long time. Just like Dr. Stephen Greer has said many, many times, if E.T. has been around since the dawn of humanity, if they wanted to wipe us out, they could have done it a long time ago. I don't think they want to. However, I do know that there are powers that be in governments, not just ours, but all over the world, that have been involved in back engineering the downed craft. We've all heard about them. And then they want to use that technology, just like every other time there's a new technology that's discovered, it has to be weaponized for the lust of money and power. And so I can't help but think that, yes, there is a good chance, if not a high probability, that they will try to execute Operation Bluebeam and basically fool the entire world to come together. Just like Ronald Reagan said, if we were threatened by a force from beyond this world, the world would come together to defend against it. Well, I don't think that if it's from another world, they want to destroy this world. No, I don't think so. So the ones who would want to show some sort of hostility would have to be terrestrial UFOs, using technology that, of course, they've kept hidden for a long, long time. Anyway, okay, changing gears a little bit. As far as Palestine is concerned, the UN has basically declared that Palestine is a sovereign territory and that Israel has been committing genocide and has no right or privilege, to do what they're doing to the Palestinians. Anyway, here is a comment from one of the officials at the UN.
It is a watershed moment for Palestine, for justice and for international law. Israel's occupation has been declared unlawful by the World Court, which has stipulated that it must be terminated completely and as rapidly as possible. The court also found that illegal Israeli occupation violates the UN Charter, human rights and international humanitarian law. The court further unequivocally declared that all Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory are illegal and must be dismantled, and that all Israeli settlers must be evacuated. The court declared that Israeli illegal occupation not only violates but eviscerates the Palestinian people's right to self-determination in their own land, including the right to their own state. This ruling couldn't be more timely or sorely needed. The Palestinian people have endured unbearable suffering and injustice for decades. This ruling is a vindication of their steadfastness and perseverance. This right must no longer be denied or deferred. The court made clear that the Palestinian people are the only sovereign in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, and that the international community is under an obligation not just to reaffirm the Palestinian people's right to self-determination, but to see to it that this right is implemented immediately. All states and the UN are now under obligation not to recognize the legality of Israel's presence in the occupied Palestinian territory.
Okay, so the UN has condemned Israel. And by the way, I want to get back to this particular subject, but there was one more clip having to do with the UFO issue that I forgot to play a couple of minutes ago. This was queued up, but I skipped. I'm sorry. My record skipped. But anyway, there's a guy from former CIA operative, Jim Semivan, and he made a very important statement, and this is not to be overlooked here.
I've had people who I know are in the know, and I've mentioned this before, and one of them told me the truth is indigestible. It's not something that we would be able to fully grasp or entertain, and that it's like, it would be like telling somebody something that they can't do anything about, and they don't know what the repercussions of that would be. It's so great. It's so world-changing and transformational, and maybe not in a good way, So,
I mean, what could be so jarring? What could be so disruptive? I mean, bless you.
Thank you.
Like the idea that we're being visited by another advanced intelligence that's more advanced than us. I mean, do you think, or is it something else?
I think it's much deeper.
Much deeper than that. It is much deeper than that. I mean, just think about it, folks. If we do make contact with an extraterrestrial civilization, not of this world, with technology that far surpasses ours, what do you suppose would happen to the world energy businesses? Oil, gas, electric, nuclear. What do you suppose would happen to these huge, monolithic corporations? I think we all know the answer, because they're not driving gasoline or diesel vehicles through the cosmos. Okay, and what would happen to the world's religions? Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all of them. What would happen to them? I don't think that they'd like that either, because all of these different religions and all of these organizations, religious organizations, would collapse. So there are a lot of reasons why the powers that be, whoever they or it is, they don't want this information out there because they love their power and their money and their control. To hell with the progress and peace and prosperity. No, they're into the profits. That's what they're into. And as long as materialism is the goal of humanity, we are destined to fail. We could be on the cusp of absolute collapse. It's happened before. Look at all the ancient civilizations that rose to power and had splendor and, technology, et cetera, et cetera. The Aztecs, the Peruvians, the Egyptians, all of them. They all rose to power, and then all of a sudden, with a snap of a finger, their civilizations collapsed. Is that where we're heading? Is that what the real reset is about? I don't know. But anyway, getting back, okay, I don't mean to be jumping back and forth between these different topics, but, there's so much to look at, and I can't get to all of the different clips without, squirrel, without jumping here and there. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you as far as this concept about what would happen if they really, really, really did disclose what was really happening. Now, back to this issue about Palestine. I don't know if you heard or not, But the Israelis have now passed a law that's going to allow them to execute the Palestinians who are in prison. Now, we have no idea how many of those prisoners there are. Okay, of course, if Hamas is holding an Israeli, that's a hostage. But if Israel is holding a Palestinian, they're a prisoner. Wordplay. So anyway, we have no idea how many thousands of prisoners there are. Many of them are children. But they basically passed a law that says, okay, we're going to start executing them. We're going to start hanging them. And you know, these monsters who passed this law, they're actually wearing nooses on their lapels. I mean, God's chosen people? Are you serious? Let's give a listen to this particular. This is an installment by Piers Morgan, and he was talking to an Israeli. What's her name? Goldie Gamari. Yeah. And in the video here, it shows Ben Gvir, and they're tipping the glasses like champagne glasses and holding them up while wearing nooses on their lapels. These are God's chosen people. Anyway, here's a piece of the interview that Piers Morgan had to an absolutely speechless woman from Israel.
This is despicable. Despicable to see a senior government minister of any supposedly civilized country cracking the champagne open at the thought of killing people. Whatever your argument about the people that they're going to put to death, wearing nooses on the thing that they've gone back hundreds of years into the Wild West. The death penalty has existed but not been used in Israel for decades. They're bringing it back only for Palestinians. But it only applies to one ethnic group, right? I mean, how can that be remotely acceptable to anybody?
I'd have to go look at that legislation.
So there's a terrible double standard there, which and the way the Ben-Gvir and others have been celebrating it is sickening for anybody, right? Whoever you are. What's your view of this?
Yeah, and this is the government that working class American soldiers are being forced to die for. Nobody signed up to defend this fanatical Jewish supremacist state, but yet this is what people are being sent off to West Asia to defend and to die on behalf of it.
Yeah. I mean, is the level of insanity that's being displayed right under our noses is just it's gobsmacking, it's jaw-dropping. And I was thinking, you know, who was it that betrayed Jesus? It was Judas, right? Judas betrayed. He lied. He deceived, right? Judas. And what was that motto of the Israeli Mossad and the IDF? What's that motto again? By means of deception thou shalt do war. Yeah, deception. Judas. Maybe that's what Judaism is. Did you say that, Dave? You know, just try to connect these dots. I mean, they have been using deceptive tactics for decades and decades and decades and decades. That's what they're doing. And I mean, again, and I don't want to say that it's all the Jews out there. No, because there is a small segment that actually adhere to the Old Testament values, the Ten Commandments. But riddle me this, folks. What if somebody were to start a religion and they called it a religion and their religion required them to kill everyone who's not of that religion? Of course, that would be, you know, that's crazy. That's crazy. But let's say I've got my religion and I have my own flag and I wrap myself in this flag and say, this is my religious belief and I have the right to be able to exercise my religious belief. And my religious belief requires that anyone who's not of my religious belief has to either bow down and serve me or we get to kill them. Does that sound familiar? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, going to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get more tank by visiting our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page and it'll take you down to a window where you can click on it and find out all about the Get More Tank formula. This is a fuel catalyst, not an additive. It's a catalyst. It makes your fuel burn more efficiently. It burns cleaner, which is good for the environment. Okay? It gives you more power. You hit the accelerator and your vehicle takes off. And the moneymaker here is that after a few tanks, you'll start to see improved mileage. And depending upon your year, make, and model of vehicle and your driving habits, you can see anywhere between 15 and 20% better mileage in your vehicle. And I don't have to tell you what's going on with the price of gasoline these days. It's a no-brainer, folks. If you haven't tried it yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. $20 with the promo code, that's the discount. And you get 5 tablets, and if you're getting 20% better mileage, that means the 5th tank is free. Spend $20, get a free tank of gas. It's a no-brainer, folks. Go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, and get more tank. Okay, it's 33 minutes past the hour, whatever hour you're sitting in, and the phone lines are open if you'd like to join me, 215-867-8255. Again, 215-867-8255. Okay, remember about a week or two ago, there was a woman, I can't remember what her name is, but they were talking about how they will not tolerate the conspiracy theories being thrown around about the Jews. No, saying that Jews control everything. Well, we're going to go after you. Yes, we are keeping control. We're keeping track and controlling, what goes on social media. I mean, Netanyahu said that he had to take over TikTok. Maybe he needs to talk to Elon Musk about taking over X. Okay? And of course, they'll deny it every time that they're in control. And if anyone dares to even suggest that they have taken over this country, you have to be admonished and you have to be silenced, etc., etc. Well, we'll get back to that in a little bit because the hypocrisy, again, the stench of the hypocrisy is curling my nose hairs. In the meantime, we got a caller, and let's see, that's the number. Oh, that's my buddy Mike. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
You know how I'm doing.
Yeah.
Gotta go. But anyways, I don't know if you heard, but Major Ed Gaines died.
No, I didn't hear that.
You know who he is, right?
Yeah. I haven't heard that name in a bunch of years, but no, that's too bad.
He'd still been going on coast to coast, and he died on the 27th.
Mm-hmm. It talks about remote viewing, et cetera, correct?
Yeah, he was remote viewing Matrix.com.
Yep.
But anyways, he's a big name, and all that we talk about. And I wonder what he was seeing happening. I got to go back and find some of his older shows.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other thing that I was calling in about is people. You know that I take care of some marketing and website work and stuff for Dave. You also know that these shows cost money, and we need at least $500 by the end of the month. We have a GoFundMe. You take any amount, hey, we'll even, if you send us a donation of $100 or more, we'll even set you up with a private call with Dave, 15-minute call. We'll give you the time. You call him personally and have a little chat with him. Maybe that'll give you a little incentive. But also, we have all kinds of merch on the website. We have hats and sweatshirts and mugs, all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, we have the Wave Watch and we have Get More Tank. So, please support our sponsors, buy our merch. And if you go to GoFundMe, and the link is on the front page of our website, and you donate $100 or more, I will personally set you up with a private call with Dave to talk about everything and get his own private insights. Dave, I'm selling you.
Okay, well, I'm glad you are, because I suck at self-promotion. I just see that as an act of egotism and, pride and all that stuff. And I've always sucked at self-promotion. And I apologize for not, putting in a greater effort here to bring more business here, because, it's not about making, well, it is about making money. We got to pay the bills, but that's not my primary motivation here.
Well, we need $500 by the end of the month, and I volunteer for Dave. I don't get anything out of this, except that I know Dave, and I'm the one that pushed him back into getting his show going again, because it's important what he has to say, and he is blessed. I mean, this mission he is on from God, just like the Blues Brothers. He's on a mission from God.
I'm on a mission from God.
Yeah, and I totally support that. But then the other thing is we need some volunteer staff who's willing to support Dave. I can show somebody what to do, posting on the website, posting shows, because Dave is not a technical guy.
No, I'm a techno idiot. I'm an analog guy in a digital world, and some of this stuff just mystifies me. I mean, put me in front of a reel-to-reel, tape deck. I can work wonders, doing editing and stuff like that. But then I backed away from everything for a bunch of years. I came back and everything got digital. And I went, oh, gee, golly gosh, it's a whole new language.
Yeah. And folks, he's actually talking about tape, recording tape with a splicer and taping ends together. Yeah, he's a master at that, but not with the new digital video. But anyways, we don't need to teach him that. He needs to do his shows and concentrate on getting the word out to the world about what's going on. We need some volunteers that will help support him with technical things. And you can contact Dave through the website. There's a contact form on the front page, and then he'll get in touch with me. Actually, I get copied on all of those. There's also marketing at TheWTFReports.com. You can get to me there. And I need help supporting him because I have a life too. So anyways, please help us out, support Dave. We're right now not getting anything monetarily out of this. Everything we have gets poured back into the show. So we have the big sponsors, the Wave Watch, Get More Tank. We have merchandise that's available on our site. Proudly wear our shirt with the WTF Red Pill logo on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got to. Yep.
And best yet, make a donation through GoFundMe, and we will make sure that we're in contact with you. And we'll set up the time so you can have a private chat with Dave. So, Dave, like I said, I just prostituted you. But hey, look at the world.
No, I appreciate it, Mike. Well, you're better at it than I am. Like I said, I've always sucked at self-promotion, and you'll notice, listeners, that we don't have all kinds of commercials like My Pillow or some storable food stuff like that. Although we probably could go that route, but then I'd end up turning into an infomercial, and that's what happened to the Power Hour, and I don't want that to happen to this program. So
yeah. At one point, Dave was thinking about going back and taking it over, and they told him, well, the first 2 hours is infomercial.
Yeah.
Then you get 30 minutes to talk about the news, and then we end it with an infomercial. And I don't blame Dave for turning that down at all. That's not what it's about. It's about the word. It's about getting the news out there. It's about finding the truth and making people aware and getting those damn scales off their eyes, just like in the Old Testament, waking them up. Mm-hmm. Get the scales off the eyes and make them receptive to what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And Dave, that's it.
Okay,
You're
well,
having a
thanks.
great job.
I appreciate it. You know, and I've said for many, many years, you know, if what motivates you is money and power, recognition, accolades, kudos, profits, if that's what motivates you to do what you're doing, well, then you're in it for the wrong reasons. Okay, it's about just telling the truth. That's all. So anyway, Mike, thanks for doing what I have a difficult time doing. So.
Okay, I'll be watching and checking your GoFundMe account. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. Listeners out there, yeah, if you appreciate what's going on this program, please, yeah, support us here because it costs money. Costs, you know, some serious money when you got a limited income to keep this program on the air. So, yeah, get some merch, do business with our advertisers, and, yeah, if you want to make a donation, I'd be happy to chit-chat with you for a while. Anyway, Mike, you have a safe and blessed weekend. I appreciate your efforts and, you know, doing, like I said, what I have a hard time doing.
Okay.
All right, you be good.
God bless you.
God bless. Cheers. Okay. Okay, let's see. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. I was talking about how, you know, certain individuals are very upset that that conspiracy theorists out there have alleged that the Zionists have taken over this country, that we've been commandeered, we've been victims of a coup d'etat, and that they're controlling all of our media and all of our education and all of our big pharma and all of the military. Of course, it's all conspiracy theory, and if you dare to say that, we'll come after you. We've got the technology. We can keep you from getting the new job. We can upset your personal life. Yeah, they're actually saying that. As a matter of fact, there was a woman by the name of, Rhonda Small, and I apologize for the sound quality here, but she's from the Zionist Organization of America, and she had this to contribute. And let's see what she had to say. And here it is. It says, how many states have made it illegal for businesses to boycott Israel?
Because
the answer is
of the
38.
dedication and advocacy of activists, many in this very room, real progress has been made. Florida has passed anti-boycott legislation, ensuring that state contracts and state investments are not given to companies that boycott Israel. To do business, that's exciting. And we have to thank Randy Fine and so many of the advocates in this dinner tonight for their strong leadership.
Okay, I'm going to pause it because the sound quality is pretty bad, but you could hear what they're saying. It's now illegal to boycott Israel in the state of Florida, thanks to Randy Fine and others. So you can boycott the United States. You can boycott anything that you want, but you can't boycott Israel. No, you can't criticize them. You can't say anything negative about Israel, and especially if you try to hit them in their pocketbooks, they're going to get really ticked off at you. But, you know, the thing is that, you know, as much as they want to deny that that Zionist Jews have taken control of this country, well, you know what? Even rabbis and other Jews are admitting that. As a matter of fact, here, let me see here. Let's get this.
You guys are worshiping one Jew.
Here it is.
That's a mistake. You should be worshiping every single one of us.
Okay, did you hear that? Let me go back here. Just keep in mind. Now, these are rabbis all saying this. So, I guess they have to be doxxed and they have to be subjected to the type of admonition that I forget who that woman was, but saying, you know, but if you say anything against Jews, if you say that they're in control, you're evil, anti-Semitic. Anyway, so here's some evil, anti-Semitic rabbis.
You guys are worshiping one Jew. That's a mistake. You should be worshiping every single one of us.
Okay, so you think that we should be worshiping every Jew. Mm-hmm. Remember, I was just saying, what if there was a religion that required me to kill everybody that didn't believe like I did? That's sort of what it is. Okay, here's another rabbi.
The Jews are in charge of the world. Science, financial, politics, behind the president. All the campaign of Donald Trump is in son-in-law, the Jew, Kushner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, let's see. We got another caller here. Okay. And let's see. I think that's Cynthia. Hello, Cynthia. How you doing?
Hey.
Hey, I apologize for not being able to get you on the air yesterday. I got screwed up with the phone machine here. But anyway, what do you got?
No, don't worry. Don't worry about yesterday or the day before or the day before that. Turner has posted information that says the DOJ is now investigating AIPAC for, what's it called? It's when you're a foreign agent, failure to register as a foreign agent registration act or something.
Well, they're going after AIPAC, but I'll tell you, there's so many other Jewish organizations that are involved in lobbying. I mean, that would just be a drop in the bucket. But that's a big one, though.
Really? That one should make the rest of them being very concerned. Of course, there are those who say, oh, it's laugh out loud, it's another investigation that will go nowhere. But maybe it will. You know, there's a lot of Jewish judges who are liberal-leaning, and they have really hacked off Trump.
Yeah.
They've interfered with his constitutional efforts to protect us, and this is a backdoor way of going after them, perhaps. Because the people that contribute to the organization may be held liable for the actions of the organization. Just saying. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I want your opinion. A couple minutes ago, I was drawing the parallel between the person who betrayed Jesus. His name was Judas. Okay? Is it possible? Now, again, we all know that that in the Bible and Revelation, you know, saying that there are those who say they are Jews but are not, and also in John 8:44, where Jesus is admonishing the Pharisees and saying that you are, you know, your father is the devil, et cetera, et cetera. He's the father of the lie, and you're the lie. Anyway, is it possible that Judas? It's funny that it's called Judaism. You know, I mean, is it their religion to deceive? I mean, from the Israeli Mossad motto and the IDF, by means of deception thou shalt make war. So is it their religion to lie, to cheat, to deceive? Is that how Judaism, the word Judaism, came about? I don't know. What's your thought?
Well, I'm not a big Bible scholar. I listen to lots of different people, though, and I'm realizing that for Jews, modern-day Jews, those 10 commandments only apply to other Jews. It doesn't apply to dealing with us Goy.
Okay. Oh, okay. Good point.
I'm wondering about how pervasive the influence of the Roman governments, the Constantine, was on influencing the direction that Christianity took. There were those that did not believe Jesus was a God, but Jesus was still the way to follow to honor God, and those who believe that Jesus was a God, but there's also a belief that may have been the way of bringing in the pagan gods. And that baffles me a little bit, but it does make sense that there was the Council of Nicaea, where maybe the original Gnostic Christians came up against the other version, the Trinitarian version, and were actually maybe murdered at the site in order to shut them up.
Who knows? So, it's hard to figure it all out because so much has been misinterpreted and reinterpreted, et cetera, et cetera. But the good thing is that people are now starting to look at the scriptures thanks to October 7th and the idea that they are God's chosen people. So now people are saying, well, wait a second, where does it say that? Let me look it up. And then they start looking something else up, and they look something else up, and people are coming back to scripture, which is a good thing.
But you might want to look at the Ethiopian Bible, which is much older than...
I have a copy.
James.
Yeah, I have a copy. I have a copy of the Ethiopian Bible. I've got the book of Jasher. I've got the book of Maccabees, book of Enoch. I've been looking at all of this stuff these days. As a matter of fact, I was sharing some scripture out of the book of Jasher. What was it, yesterday? Real interesting stuff. So...
Well, people may not have realized that wasn't the King James. I am very, very hesitant to accept a religious document written with the influence of a king of England.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's some people that stand by the KJV and they say, that's it, that's the word of God, and I don't need to read anything else. And that's like saying, okay, well, you know, the Constitution, all I need to do is read the Constitution. I don't need to read history. I don't need to read the writings of Thomas Jefferson or Benjamin Franklin or John Adams or George Washington. I don't need to read the Federalist Papers, the Anti-Federalist. I don't need to read any of that stuff because I got the Constitution and that's it. So you talk about a narrow mind. My gosh.
They do need to read the ratification debates.
Yes, you told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, how was the Constitution explained to the representatives of the counties when they met at the state to decide a thumbs up or thumbs down on this new Constitution?
Mm-hmm.
And what you see is what the, quote, founders told them. And you'll realize that by 100 years, they were doing a 180 degree on that, and they can't constitutionally legitimately do that. And that is the basis for the idea that we don't actually owe the debt, because the debt was constructed of spending that was never constitutionally agreed to.
Well, this is a whole different topic. And I'll tell you, you could send me a link on that. I remember the last time you brought that up, I said, hey, send me a link. So if you could, send me a link, we'll do a discussion on that. So, because we've only got a couple more minutes here, and I wanted to get to a couple of things.
So there's a lot about Christianity that needs to be questioned in a positive, exploring manner, to find out what the original Christianity was and how did it get changed.
Yep.
And why did it get changed?
Very good. All right. Well, Cynthia, thank you so much for giving a call. And like I said, send me a link.
All righty.
All right, my dear. You have a good weekend. Bye-bye. Okay, now getting back to this issue about whether or not there is undue influence and control by the quote-unquote Jews, and I say quote-unquote because they are not the real Jews. But anyway, there's another comment here.
Donald Trump, Kamala Harris have no freedom of choice. They become like puppets.
Mm-hmm.
And who pulls the strings of those puppets? We do. The Jewish people.
Okay, that's a rabbi saying that. We pull the strings. We are in control. So that organization, I forget who it was, but you want to start doxing people who dare to say Israel is control, well, then you need to dox yourself.
The goal of the nations are to humble themselves before the Jewish nation.
And all those goyim who brought about so much pain and suffering on the Jewish people will be punished.
Yeah. So we're the goyim, and like I said, what if there was a religion that commanded them to kill anybody who's not of their religion? Yeah, that's sort of what we're at, folks, and more people are starting to realize this. And as I mentioned either yesterday or the day before, there are powers that be that want a civil war in this country. They want the liberals and the conservatives to destroy each other. They want the red state and the blue state to destroy each other. They want the Republicans versus the Democrats. They want a horizontal conflict. And meanwhile, we should be going from the bottom to the top. And they don't want that to happen. No, they don't want you focusing on who's pulling the strings. Well, guess what? We're looking at who's pulling the strings. Okay, I had a bunch more clips, but I'm not going to get to them today. However, there is one thing that I felt was worth pondering, okay? What if this war in Iran is going exactly as planned? This made me think a little bit. Give a listen to this. I don't know if I have enough time to play the whole thing, but this is food for thought. Listen to this.
Okay, so what if Trump isn't an idiot? What if losing the war in Iran is exactly the plan? Let me show you something the media will never tell you. Okay, so everyone's saying Trump is destroying America. He's fighting an unwinnable war in Iran. He's threatening to invade with ground troops. He's pissing off NATO by threatening Greenland. He's picking fights with Canada, Mexico, Denmark, Colombia. JP Morgan says the world will run out of oil by mid-April. The global economy is about to collapse. Trump looks like the worst president in history. A complete buffoon, right? But what if that's the whole point? What if Trump wants to lose the war in Iran?
How would that make sense? Wow. Go on.
What if he wants the American empire to collapse? What if he wants to destroy the global economy? Then he'd be a genius. Let me explain. Okay, so I have to share something with you. I wrote a complete guide to the Middle East conflict, from how it all started to what's happening right now in 2026. And honestly, I'm really proud of it. It's clear, it's balanced, and I think it will genuinely change how you see the news. Link in bio. Right now, the world gets 20% of its oil from the Middle East. Japan, 75% from the Middle East. India, 60% from the Middle East. Europe, heavily dependent. But here's the thing. Oil isn't rare. Venezuela has the world's largest reserves. Canada has massive reserves. United States has massive reserves. Trump just took over Venezuela in January. He's threatening to take over Canada. You see where this is going? If Trump closes the Strait of Hormuz by fighting Iran, the Middle East oil stops flowing. But North America, still pumping. Suddenly, Europe, China, Japan, South Korea, they all need American oil. Not just oil, fertilizer too. Nitrogen for food production comes from the Middle East. If that's cut off, where do they turn? North America and Russia. Trump is making the entire world dependent on resources he controls. Now here's the genius part. Who owns the most US debt? Who's financing America's $39 trillion? Japan, China, Taiwan, South Korea, Asia, UK, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Europe. The same countries that need Middle East oil. There's been this fear that these countries would stop buying US Treasury bonds, that they'd move to gold or Swiss francs, that America's Ponzi scheme would collapse. But now they need American energy. They need American resources. They can't abandon the dollar. They're trapped. Trump just turned America's biggest weakness, its debt, into its greatest weapon. By starting an unwinnable war in Iran, he's forcing the entire world to depend on North America. This isn't new. Putin already proved this works in Ukraine. Russia's been fighting for 5 years. It's a slow grind, but it's restructured Russia's entire economy around war production. Drones, munitions, military manufacturing. Russia went from importing Iranian drones to making their own and now exporting them to Iran.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there because we're going to be out of time. But I don't know about that. I don't know if this is really a good plan. It would be if the United States would get out from under the control of Israel. Now, Paul Craig Roberts, as a matter of fact, Craig Roberts made the following statement. I can just barely squeeze this in, and it's worth listening to because I would tend to agree.
It's the only way it can be.
Wait, let me cut that from the beginning.
My own view is the only way it can be finally settled is for Iran to destroy Israel. Because as long as the Israelis have the agenda of Greater Israel, the conflict cannot end. My own view is the only way it can be finally settled is for Iran to destroy Israel.
Okay, that's what he's saying. And it's funny that the mainstream media is not showing you any footage about what's been going on in Israel, in Tel Aviv. Yeah, we've been hearing about all these missile strikes that Iran has been pounding Tel Aviv. I've seen some video clips, but you're not seeing anything on the mainstream media. They don't even talk about it. You know, they talk about, oh, yeah, the strikes that the U.S. made, and here's a video of the U.S. destroying this bridge or this and that. They show us all the stuff that they say the U.S. is doing to Iran, but they're not showing you anything that Iran is doing to Israel. So I think that's kind of interesting, don't you? Anyway, what time is it? All right, it's time to wrap it up for today's Friday edition of the WTF Reports. And as always, I thank you for listening. And if you are listening on BitChute or Rumble or YouTube or Facebook or something, you know what to do. Click like, share, subscribe, word of mouth. Tell your friends about it. And as Mike was saying earlier in the broadcast, hey, do some business with our advertisers. And if you want to make a donation through GoFundMe, you can do that too. Because our main purpose here is not to make money. Yeah, we need it, but that's not the purpose here. The purpose is to stay on the air and get this information out. Okay, that said, the weekend is upon us, and boy, it should be an interesting weekend for sure. They say crazy stuff usually happens on a Friday, and it's Friday. Let's keep our eyes open. That said, God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, and God willing, I'll see you on Monday.